Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Hence back with another video, and finally, we got the reveal trailer for NHL 24. Now, I'm just gonna play this in the background with the sound muted and just like leave it going in the background, so I'll start this now. So you guys can kind of watch. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll see like everything that's going on as I'm speaking, but mostly I'm just gonna be going over my thoughts on the game. So I wrote down some notes here, and I'm going to go over everything from the notes, and then after that I'll pull up some stuff from Twitter, that some exclusive stuff that wasn't released in the trailer here. I'm sure you guys have all seen the trailer. If you haven't already, I highly recommend going to check it out. Just look up EA NHL on YouTube, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. It's all over the internet, so just go and check it out if you haven't already. But I'm sure at this point, if you're watching this video, you certainly have seen this before, so it's not going to be news to you. So first things first, the release date is October the 6th, with 3 days early access if you pre-ordered the X Factor edition, and I believe the early access for EA Play also comes with that 3 days. So if you just get EA Play and you don't get the X Factor edition, I think you'll get 10 hours of early access 3 days in advance. So between the 3rd and the 6th, you'll be able to play for 10 hours total if you get EA Play. So I can't confirm that 100% yet, but I think that that's how it's going to work. The gameplay, the first thing I want to talk about is the gameplay mechanics, and they look to me, as of right now, I mean, I haven't played the game, so I can't say for certain, but they look to me that they're going to have a big emphasis on the long-term players, and the skill gap is going to increase tremendously this year. I think the problem with the last few huts is that I'm sure you guys can all agree that you would go into games that you think you deserve to win, and you would lose them because of the game. And the same thing vice versa. You go into some games that you know you deserve to lose, and you win them because you just got some lucky bounces. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think it's going to be a lot easier to score goals, which I think is a very good thing because it will increase the skill gap, meaning that if you're the better player and you can score goals, it should be easier to win. The biggest skill gap this year is going to be on defending. If you're good at defending this year, if you're good at timing your hits, if you're good at playing aggressive, I think you're going to be really good at this game. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And also the L2, if you haven't heard yet, L2 kind of got nerfed. So I don't think it's being taken out of the game, as some people have been saying, but I think it's getting nerfed to the point where it's not going to be effective in the offensive zone anymore, just because of that, the new mechanics where, the pressure mechanics, as you can see on the screen right here. The more offensive zone time you have, the more pressure you're creating in the offensive zone, shots, hits, passes, all that type of stuff. The more you're controlling the offensive zone, the more pressure you're going to get, and the easier it is going to be to score. So, I think with that being introduced into the game, the defending is just going to get a lot harder. And if you're good at defending, if you're good at timing your hits, if you're good at playing aggressive and, stopping that pressure timer, then you're going to be really set in this game. So I think that's super important to keep in mind. The binding the passes, so when you tap the button, you can like press, if your left winger is X, you can press X and it will pass straight to your left winger. That binding passes mechanic is super big. They have something similar in FIFA and in NBA, and honestly, it's a game changer. It's going to be a huge skill gap thing next year. It's going to be so crucial for the players who want to separate themselves. You just saw it there on the screen how they open up that menu to pass it to Goudreau there. That's going to be a huge skill gap separator, so I highly recommend that you guys get on that right away. Hit the practice zone in the 10 hours or the 3 days of early access, and just practice. As you can see on the screen right here, this is what I'm talking about. Practice this nonstop because it will be a huge skill gap in the game. So yeah, the pressure thing, as you can see, it has full pressure. It had that little timer there. I'll go back for a second. See this timer here? That means that you only get 30 seconds of full pressure time before your players will like gas out, basically. So if you don't score within that 30 seconds, then there's no ozone ragging really after that. The ozone ragging is gonna stop there, which means that the game is gonna be faster paced. The gameplay is going to have a bigger skill gap, and you're going to have to be able to really capitalize on your opportunities in order to win. I think the scores from last year were mostly like 3-2, 2-1, 1-0 type games. I think this year they're going to be a lot more 5-4, 6-5, 7-6 type of games, big scoring games, which I think is very good. Obviously, we all like to score, so the more goals that there are, the more entertaining the game's going to be, and the better it's going to be. So I think that's super important. Next thing that I want to mention is the X Factor edition. If you haven't seen the X Factor edition stuff yet, I think it's going to come up here right at the end of the video. As you can see right here, you get a Kale McCarr card, you get 4,600 HUP points, 3 days early access, HUP power-up icon, dual entitlement, World of Chell Battle Pass, and if you pre-order, you also get 2 of the 85 overall team builders. I don't know if they're going to be 85 this year, but I think they were last year, or 84 or something. You get 2 of those team builders, so like the lowest rated team builders, you get to pick 2 out of any of the teams that you want for those cards. So that's also huge because that saves you about, 50 to 100k right there just off of the team builders that you're going to be building. So that's super important too. It's not mentioned here, but it is confirmed because when I pre-ordered the game, which I already have, it said pre-order now and get this. So you should be able to get that. I'm looking super forward to that. If you guys can afford it, if you guys spend any money on the game at all whatsoever all year, I highly recommend the X Factor edition. I think it's truly worth it. The stuff that you get from it is worth way more than the extra that you're paying on top of the base game. So if you're going to spend money on the game anyway, if you're going to get those HUP points anyway, I highly recommend you get the X Factor version, and I think it's very, very worth it. To me, you're still considered free to play if you get the X Factor edition. Some people maybe not, but to me you are. But yeah, I would highly recommend getting the X Factor edition. Super, super worth it. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the HUT content that we know about for sure. So Sleeves posted this on Twitter here. Things not mentioned in the NHL 24 reveal trailer. HUT moments are back. Updated objective tracking, allowing individual stat players to be tracked to earn progress to objectives, shots and goals with specific players, etc. So that's pretty cool, meaning that as you're playing these moments with specific players, you're going to get progress towards those specific players or objectives for those players, which will, maybe get you some of the MSPs or, get collectibles to upgrade the cards and stuff like that. I think that's huge. Obviously, when we get the tech test, we're going to get a big, update on that. So we're going to see everything that comes in HUT in the tech test, because I'm pretty sure HUT's part of the tech test, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's what we know that wasn't in the trailer. That's kind of the exclusive content that I was talking about earlier. And then finally, I'm going to give my final verdict. So my final verdict is that I really, really like the updates, and I do think that these are the crucial updates they needed to make to the gameplay in order to make the game have a bigger skill gap. I'm a huge fan of it. Obviously, I haven't got my hands on the game yet, but in theory, this stuff all sounds great, and that's what we say every year about EA, but I actually think this year is different because there's actual, not just like visual upgrades like the last chance movement. That was so gimmicky. This looks like it's going to be actually impacting the game and not be a gimmick. So I think this is huge for the gameplay. And I think the gameplay is going to have a bigger skill gap. It's going to take some time to adapt. People aren't going to like it right away. But as you adapt, as you get better at the game, I think that this year is going to be a huge step in the right direction for HUT. This is just me from the initial reaction. I haven't got my hands on the game, so I want to mention that. I know a lot of people have. I have not got my hands on the game. I have not played it at all. I have not played the tech test. I have not played any build of the game. So I can't say for certain if it's going to be good or not. But from the sounds of it, from the looks of it, from the visuals, it looks great. I think that this is going to be a big year for HUT, a big year for NHL, and I'm looking super forward to starting in 48 days. So yeah, 48 days from today, we're going to be getting the full game. Of course, I'm going to be streaming right away, seeing if I can stream all day, pull an all-nighter, play all day. I don't care. That's the type of thing that I want to do when this game comes out. So we'll see if we can get a stream going on October the 3rd when it comes out, because obviously I ordered the X Factor edition. But with that being said, any more content that comes out, any more news that we'll get, I'll make videos on it as soon as I can after work. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, guys.